Welcome to Devotion and Decline. This lesson is designed to help you understand how to establish boundaries while caregiving. This may seem like an odd conversation because many of us believe family caregiving is synonymous with sacrifice and service. However, regardless of whether we're caregiving for weeks, months, or years, for you to sustain your role as a caregiver, boundaries are absolutely necessary. And just because you are asserting those boundaries does not mean you're not devoted, dedicated, and committed to your loved one. So throughout this lesson, our goal is to do the following. We want to identify and establish your boundaries, communicate, discuss those boundaries with family, friends, and your community. And then 3, know when to revisit or reset those boundaries. So let's start with an example. My husband and I were married in 2010. We were both in our 50s at the time. As a new couple, we were establishing a friend group, blending a family of mostly adult children, getting to know each other's extended family, and well, you get the picture. We were starting over. So when Mike was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, I didn't really have what I would call an established community or a number of trusted relationships yet in place for me to be able to just freely ask for help. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, and I felt his care was solely my responsibility. And of course, due to the nature of the disease, dementia, I wanted to protect Mike's dignity as he declined. So let me ask you this. Did you buy all of my excuses? Have you used any of the same excuses? I want to go back and look at those one more time. Newly married, blending a family, no established community, not comfortable asking for help. His care was my responsibility, and my job was to protect his dignity. So here's something I want you to think about when it's regarding boundaries in caregiving. Boundaries aren't just about you. You establish boundaries to maintain your mental, physical, and emotional health for the purpose of sustaining your ability to provide great care for your loved one. The excuses I listed for not establishing those boundaries and asking for help might have been valid and maybe even reasonable, but the truth is, it was really about my discomfort in allowing others to see into our life and possibly judging us for how we were handling the diagnosis and ultimately Mike's decline. In summary, it was pride. There, I said it. It was my ego. It was important for me to create this lesson for you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. By not establishing healthy, clear boundaries from the start, I put at risk not only my health, but Mike's care and the ability for others to choose to participate or not participate in our journey. So let's talk about what I'm calling micro and macro boundaries. Micro boundaries are the activities and the behaviors that you need to establish in your routine or your schedule that I call non-negotiables to be able to maintain your mental health. Macro boundaries are the foundational beliefs around how care will be delivered, whether in-home, memory care, group home, whatever. And then who needs to understand those beliefs to be able to support or not support how that care will be delivered. If you're caring for a spouse or you're a parent caring for a child, you will typically be the primary one in establishing the macro boundaries. So for other caregivers, you need to understand the big picture. The macro boundaries will help you determine if you are aligned with how care has been agreed upon to be delivered. Or if you disagree, you can choose then to not participate. But you don't want to get halfway down the care path and then change your mind because your boundaries have been crossed. Let me give you some examples related to establishing micro boundaries for caregivers. Here's something to consider. Be very clear about what you need. Spend time thinking through what you believe are your non-negotiables. For example, church attendance every Sunday, a girl or a guy's night out once a month, yoga on Monday mornings. Now, we're not talking about numerous activities. These are your must-haves. What fills your cup? What recharges you? What impacts your mental health? And then communicate your needs to your partners in care. Is that family, friends, neighbors, your community? Be very direct and very specific. Patty, I need my time with my friends every third Wednesday night of the month. Could you please sit with Mike for 2 hours while I'm out? And then hold people accountable for their word. If they've offered to step up and help out, don't feel guilty about holding them to that. Patty, I'm really counting on you to do this for me. Please let me know in advance if you can't make it. The help that you provide really matters. Remember also to express and or demonstrate your thanks. Patty, I can enjoy my night out because I know that Mike is in good hands. Now, let's look at some examples of macro boundaries, of which maybe you as a caregiver didn't have any role in establishing, but still need to understand how they impact your delivery of care. So a decision maker, whether a spouse or a parent, the primary decision maker, should be very clear about how care will be delivered over the long term relative to the loved one's diagnosis. And we talked about in-home care, group home, etc. So maybe the determination was made that in-home care will be established unless it becomes 24/7, and then a nursing home will be considered. Or we've made the decision to not resuscitate if it comes to that. As a caregiver, you need to decide, can you participate in care under those conditions? The decision maker should also communicate those boundaries very clearly to the people who are directly involved in the loved one's care. That can be family, close friends, and other partners in care. Another example might be, if we put Wanda in memory care or a group home, are you available to continue as a caregiver, but in a different capacity? So the question is, what is that capacity? Are you helping with feeding, showering, etc.? The decision maker then needs to hold people accountable for stepping up and not feeling guilty, as we discussed in the micro component of this. And then expressing thanks to everyone that's involved, making sure everyone's on the same page with both micro and macro decisions will not only greatly reduce the stress, but it will allow the loved one to feel as if their care is not creating a negative dynamic for everyone involved. Remember, boundaries may need to be adjusted or revisited over time. Now, I want you to use your notebook or your journal to reflect and document your responses to the following. Are you clear on what the macro boundaries are, and have those been communicated to the people who need to know so that they can decide to participate or not? Have you established your micro boundaries as a caregiver with the intention to protect your mental health? What are those micro activities? And has there been a discussion about when to revisit both the macro and the micro boundaries at some point during the caregiving journey? This is another big topic to handle, but remember, the goal is to help you experience caregiving in the most positive way possible and to protect your mental health and empower you, not deplete you. And congratulations, you've completed the 7th lesson in the Caregiver Journey program. Look for the next lesson being posted soon. There are a total of 10 lessons in this series. Now, go take on the day.